Here's the thing, and I'm just telling you this because, well, I need to get it out. You know that whole story I posted online about my sister and my ex-fiancé? The whole scientist finds herself and chooses her own path saga. It got a lot of traction. Right. It was a hit. The comments were all, "You're so strong, Elena, and I'm so proud of you for standing up for yourself." And honestly, yeah, I'm a tenured professor. I know how to frame a narrative. I know what people want to hear. But between you and me, the real story is a bit messier. My family? God, they're exhausting. My parents? Lisa, it's always been a production. I get it. I'm the brainy one. The academic, the one who was supposed to just sit with her books and be happy. Lisa, on the other hand, was the star. The pretty one. The one with the personality. So, when I came home from that academic meeting with David, the contrast was just brutal. He was this big, successful guy, and he was so taken with me. It was such a great feeling, and I ate it up. David was smart. He was in my field, and he actually seemed to get me. Lisa, of course, had to make it a competition. She was always like that, trying to one-up me, even when there was nothing to compete about. My engagement party? She helped with the arrangements. Please. She just wanted to be the center of attention. All her suggestions were just ways to make it more about her. More, showy. I guess I should have seen the signs, right? Her being over at the house, her assisting with the party, the way she and David would look at each other. Looking back, it's so obvious. But at the time, I just thought, whatever, that's just Lisa. She's always been a bit much. A total validation seeker. And then I found them, just like I said in the post, David and Lisa, in my childhood bedroom. But what I didn't tell everyone was how it made me feel. Not just betrayed, but like a failure, like all my accomplishments, all my degrees, my professorship. None of it mattered. Because at the end of the day, I was just the brainy, bookish girl who couldn't keep a man. It's so stupid. Right. But that's what went through my head. The same girl I'd always been. The one who was never good enough for my parents. And I saw red. I felt this surge of power, but it was ugly. It was the power to destroy something beautiful. My family's carefully constructed world. And I did it. I went downstairs and announced the engagement was off. I didn't care about the party. I didn't care about the guests. All I cared about was watching my mother's face crumble. The look in her eyes when she said, "Elena, sweetie, please don't make a scene. Think of your sister's marriage." Her marriage, after what she just did to mine. The sheer audacity. That's when I knew this was it. I was done playing the good, quiet daughter. I blocked everyone. My parents, my sister. I needed to send a message. And it worked. Richard, Lisa's husband, came to me asking for the truth. He's this high-powered real estate developer. Right. A total workaholic. He and Lisa, they've always been about appearances. They were the perfect couple. The perfect family. The way he listened to me. How he got up and said, "You have at least one family member who respects the truth." It was validation I had craved my entire life. And I just fed him all the details. I wanted her to feel what I was feeling. The pure, unadulterated shame. And then there's Michael, my love story. The internet went wild for that. The architect who sees me for who I am. The one who loves my brilliance. He's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. But you know how these things go. The more I told him about David and my family, the more he sympathized with me. And I just kept pushing that narrative. He thought he was rescuing me from a toxic situation. And I let him. I even made up a few things. Just to make the story more dramatic. Moving to a different university for a new job. That was a power move. I had another job offer. And Michael's university was a great fit. But the timing was perfect. I could get away from all the drama and start a new life. And I could do it on my own terms. My new life would be free from the constant need for parental approval. When Michael proposed, it was different. He didn't get down on one knee. He made it about us, about our careers. The matching desk lamp was a nice touch. I knew he was the one. He saw me, and he saw my work. And he valued both. But I had to test him, right? I had to see if he'd stand up for me. So when my mom texted about wanting to make amends, I didn't respond. I needed to see what Michael would do. He offered to call off the party. He's a good man, so I decided to go ahead with the wedding. But I was prepared. The wedding. So the day arrived. My wedding day. It was beautiful. My grandmother, Martha, was there beaming. She was the only one who really mattered. She always had my back. And Dr. Anderson, my department director, who I barely know, walked me down the aisle. It was a nice gesture. I guess it made for a good story. I told the internet that he escorted me down the aisle with pride. It sounded so official. And then she showed up. Lisa. Of course she did. Wearing this white, flowy dress, like she was the one getting married. And she was pregnant. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. She had somehow gotten in through a service entrance. My mom, of course, was all she's your only sister and family should be together on special days. My mother, the master manipulator, she's always been able to use emotional manipulation to get her way. But I didn't care. I just looked at Michael. He was there for me, and that was all that mattered. He just looked at me and said, "Whatever you want to do, I'm with you." It was amazing. The ceremony went off without a hitch. And then, at the reception, the real drama started. Lisa, the ultimate attention seeker, got up to make a toast. A toast. It was more like a passive-aggressive speech, disguised as a loving tribute. She talked about how she saved me from making a terrible mistake. I mean, the audacity. My research team was ready to pounce on her, and Michael's family was getting up to intervene. But I was ready. This was my moment. The culmination of everything. I had to take control of the narrative. I got up and took the microphone. My hands were shaking a little, but I steadied myself. I was a professor. For God's sake, I knew how to work a room. For those who don't know me well, I'm a scientist. We work with truth and facts, so allow me to share some family-related truths. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop, and I just laid it all out there. The betrayal, the parents, the lack of support. I told them everything. I saw Lisa's face crumble. Tom, her husband, looked shocked. He started asking her about the paternity of the baby. The room was in an uproar. I didn't care. It felt good. I felt in control. I was getting my revenge. I was a history rewriter, and I was in control of my own story. Tom filed for divorce. Lisa's perfect life was in shambles. And for the first time, I wasn't the one cleaning up her messes. I was the one who created them. I was the one who had finally won. What comes next? A year has passed. Michael and I are expecting a baby. I know, a baby. I never thought I'd have one, but here we are. He's great. He's supportive. He's always telling me how smart I am. He even designed a new lab for me at the university, with a play area for the baby. It's perfect. He's everything David wasn't. But sometimes, when I'm in the lab, working late at night, I think about Lisa. She's living with my parents now. The paternity test confirmed the baby wasn't Tom's. She's a single mother now, and she has to deal with the consequences of her actions. For the first time in her life, she's not the golden child. And I have to admit, it's a little gratifying. I have a baby coming, a new lab, a loving husband. I have everything, and she has nothing. My parents still try to reach out. They want to be a part of their grandchild's life. They say they've changed, but I know them. It's just another attempt to get back into my life, to regain control. I'm not ready for that. I don't know if I ever will be. Sometimes I think about all the things that have happened, and I feel a little sad. Not for her, not for them, but for the family I never had. The family that could have been. But then I look at Michael, and I think about the baby, and I know I made the right choice. My family isn't based on blood anymore. It's based on who chooses to love and support me. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a love story that's finally mine. It's been a year since my last update, and so much has changed. The internet still buzzes about my story. The brilliant professor who chose herself. But let's be real. It's not that simple. It never is. I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy. Leo, he has my eyes. But Michael's calm demeanor, he's the center of our world. Michael is a doting father, and his parents, Linda and James, are wonderful grandparents. Linda is always asking about my research and telling me how proud she is. She even helped me set up a makeshift nursery in my new lab at the university. She called it a command center for the next generation of genius. It's a sweet sentiment, but it also feels like a lot of pressure. My grandmother, Martha, is my rock. She visits every weekend, bringing home-cooked meals and tales from her own life. She tells me I've become a great mother, but sometimes I feel like a fraud. I'm a great professor. I know that, but a mother, it's a steep learning curve. Sometimes, when Leo cries in the middle of the night, I feel a pang of fear. The same fear I felt when I discovered David and Lisa. The fear of not being enough. The unraveling. I've been so focused on my own life, on building this perfect little world, that I haven't really thought about my family, not until my father called me a few weeks ago. He sounded different. Not angry, not disappointed, just tired. He told me he was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. He said he wanted to make things right before it was too late. He asked if he could see Leo. The request sent a jolt of panic through me. I told him I'd think about it and hung up. I didn't tell Michael right away. I needed to process it on my own. I went to my lab, a place where I always felt in control. But even there, I felt like I was drowning. My parents, their drama, it was a ghost that I just couldn't seem to shake. The guilt trip about family togetherness and making amends was just a new layer of the same old manipulation. A week later, I got a text from my mother. It was a picture of Lisa holding a baby. The baby was adorable, with a mop of dark hair and big, curious eyes. The text read, "Richard has come back into Lisa's life. He wants to be a father to his son. Please come and see your nephew." Elena, I just stared at the text. The words a jumble in my head. My nephew? So, the baby wasn't David's. It was Richard's. I should have felt relieved. But instead, I felt jealous. Richard, the successful real estate developer, was back in Lisa's life. He was giving her another chance. She was going to get her perfect life back, the one she'd always wanted. And for a fleeting moment, I felt like the one who had been left behind. A fateful encounter. The next day, I had a conference in town. I was presenting my latest research, the project Michael and I had worked on together. I was nervous, but I knew my material cold. After my presentation, I was walking through the university quad when I heard a familiar voice call my name. Elena. It was Tom, Lisa's ex-husband. He looked great. He was with a beautiful, tall woman with a warm smile. "This is Sarah," he said, introducing me. "We're engaged." I was floored. He wasn't broken. He wasn't devastated. He was happy. We talked for a few minutes. He told me that he'd found true happiness after leaving Lisa. He said that leaving her had been the best decision he'd ever made. Sometimes, he said, you have to let go of a toxic situation to find something real. His words hit me like a ton of bricks. My whole life, I'd been trying to control the narrative. I'd been the victim, the betrayed sister, the wrong daughter. But what if I had been wrong all along? What if my revenge, my truth, was just another form of manipulation? What if I was just as selfish as they were? I had used my family to get what I wanted, to get Michael, to get this new life, and I had done it by tearing them down. That night, I went home and hugged Leo a little tighter. I looked at Michael, who was playing with our son on the floor, and I felt a wave of love and gratitude. He had no idea what I had done, what I had said. He just saw me, a woman he loved. But what would he think if he knew the whole truth? The parts of the story I left out, the parts that revealed me as a passive-aggressive, validation-seeking, and hot and cold individual. A new chapter. I made a decision that night. A real one. The kind that doesn't involve a public announcement or a social media post. I called my father. "Dad," I said, "I'd love for you to meet your grandson." His voice cracked as he thanked me. It wasn't easy, but when I introduced Leo to my parents, I felt a shift. My mother was surprisingly quiet. She held Leo and just smiled. She didn't say anything about making amends or family togetherness. She just looked at her grandson with pure love in her eyes. It was the first time I'd seen her without an agenda. And for the first time, I didn't have one either. I'm still not in regular contact with Lisa, but I do get updates from my grandmother. She and Richard are raising their son together. Co-parenting? She's not living an extravagant life. And she's not a local TV personality anymore. She's just a mom. My grandmother told me that Lisa has started volunteering at a local shelter. She's found a new way to be a star. I've stopped looking for validation on social media. I've stopped trying to control the narrative. My life with Michael and Leo is not a perfect story for public consumption. It's messy and complicated, and that's okay. I'm still a professor. I still love my work, and I still have so much to learn. But now, I'm also a mother, and for the first time in my life, I'm choosing a different path. Not one of revenge or manipulation, but one of truth and grace. I'm finally learning to love myself, flaws and all. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most significant breakthrough of all.